The car salesman comes out, and that car salesman's manager doesn't award or reward that car salesperson to sell you the least expensive car on the lot, without the AM/FM CD, without the little, iPod connector thing, with none of the undercoating and rust proofing. They're paid to sell you all the bells and whistles, everything. So when you walk into a bank, you are laying your soul bare to the person who decides what type of loan you get, right?
Right.
So, how many people in the room are perfect?
Well, hello.
How many people in the room have an 850 FICO score? And you're not perfect. All right? You're born perfect. You're born with a perfect credit score, 850. You spend the rest of your life destroying it. The idea that you build your credit up is not true. You actually tear your credit down. So, if you're not perfect and you're walking in and you're laying out all these imperfections to someone that is then going, can I use this for a second? They're going to write all these imperfections down, and then they're going to show them to you and convince you why you are not a good borrower and why you don't qualify for the AAA prime credit. You actually qualify for the C&D credit, the higher interest rate, less of a purchase price. Instead of your 4-bedroom, 3-bath, you now qualify for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo in El Cajon. Nothing against El Cajon, but if you're wanting to live at the beach, you have a dream, right? So, the question then becomes, why would you or anyone you care for, friends, family, co-workers, loved ones, why would you let them walk into a situation, lay their complete soul bare so that it could then be used against them? This is not an exaggeration. This is the job of a bank employee loan officer. The 2-week, 2 weeks, the 2-week training program at a bank. Now you're talking about someone that you're trusting. You see Krista roll her eyes? Okay, she's our realtor, by the way. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. The 2-week training program at a bank has nothing to do with training them how to do a loan. Now that's some scary stuff right there. The loan industry is federally regulated, down to the point where my forms, the font, the letter size, the font on the form is regulated. If I use too small of a font, I could be forced to buy your loan back because I wrote it improperly. I didn't properly disclose, right? So, you walk in, you lay your soul bare to this person that uses all those imperfections against you to sell the highest loan you can afford. How do they do that? Well, when you walk in, you're probably bringing them your proof of income, right? How many people here have ever walked onto a car lot and bought a car? How many of you ever had the salesperson that's trying to sell you a car say, well, how much are you looking to spend per month? Right? Do you understand how much of a loaded question that is? How dangerous that question is? You say, okay, well, I'm looking to spend about $300 a month. That salesperson can calculate backwards the price of that car. Regardless of what they intended to sell it for, they're now going to sell you that car at a price that equates to what you said you were willing to pay. Once again, you have laid your soul open. You have bared your soul with all your little imperfections and given all your information over to them, so therefore you have now lost the what? The power. You've lost your advantage. You've lost your ability to negotiate. Because the person that you're hiring to represent you in the largest transaction you will ever take part in your life, bar none, you will never spend more money than when you buy a house. Unless you're in the market for a Lamborghini, which most of us are not, right? So when you go to buy a house, the largest transaction of your life, and you just gave up all your negotiating power, all of it, you have nothing left. There's nothing you can pull back and regain your negotiating power. When you purchase a house, you're negotiating on the loan, and you're also negotiating on the bricks and sticks. People get so focused on finding your right bedroom, bath count that they focus on the 2x4s, and the loan becomes a byproduct. But once you're in the house, what remains? The house payment. So why would you do that? What you need to do is you need to think it through. And you need to hire someone that works for you and only you. That's where mortgage brokers come in. That was the whole reason the Department of Corporations in California came up with a separate license outside of the banking industry. It was one of the first states to do it, which is kind of odd. We're normally one of the last. The state of California actually came up with what's called a California Finance Lender's License. I am a California Finance Lender. I do not work for banks. I do not work for credit unions. I don't work with banks. I don't work with credit unions. You will never hear me tell a story about how I was doing a loan for one of my clients and I was applying to Bank of America to help them get financing. I won't deal with banks. I won't deal with credit unions. I deal with what's called the wholesale industry. And the wholesale industry are entities companies that get their money directly from Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae and these wholesale lenders do not deal with the public. You cannot pick up the phone and call a wholesale lender and get pre-qualified for a loan from a wholesale lender. They are not licensed to speak with you. They cannot disclose rates. They can't do any of that. So what do you bring? So why am I important? The reason I'm important is because when you come in and you sit down with me, you still lay your soul bare. I'm going to know all your dirty little secrets. It's scary. I know a lot about you when I'm doing your loan. I mean, I sit down and I look at your credit report, page after page after page, and everything on it. We're going to talk it. We're going to say, okay, what happened here? This late payment from 7 years ago on your cell phone. What happened? We need to be able to explain it. So then what I do is, as I find out, let's say Bob here, 3 years ago, in like a 90-day time period, 1 minute, thank you. In like a 90-day time period, Bob stopped making all the payments. Now, I can either present that to the lender, or I can figure out why that happened, and then go find the lender that doesn't really care about what happened 7 years ago. They only look at the last 3 years. So now I take Bob, and I take his last 3 years of history, and now Bob's perfect again. What the role of a mortgage broker is to get you a loan better than what you qualify for. If all I can do is get you what you qualify for, you should really just walk into the bank. It'd be a lot easier for you. In other words, you could walk in, just sign whatever they throw in front of you, and start making payments for the next 30 years of your life. But if what you're looking for is something better than what you qualify for, something better than what you've been told, if you're looking for a plan, then I am your guy. I've made an extremely good living off of that idea. I came from the Navy, 13 years. I was a technician. I ran nuclear reactors. I drove submarines. I've done it all. But my basis of my job was to fix things that could not be fixed. If this squadron had a boat that was broken and everybody in that squadron had tried to fix it and they couldn't fix it, they would load me up with all my little black super secret suitcases, fly me in, and I would fix it. I was the guy who fixed things that could not be fixed. So typically my clients are people that have been turned down for the silliest of reasons. Like a guy that has an ex-wife from 10 years ago, and they had a joint Chase account, and she stopped making payments on it 10 years ago, and every month his credit just keeps getting worse and worse and worse because she's not paying her bills on a joint credit card that the judge assigned to her. And every lender in town has denied this guy. In 4 days, we got that credit card removed from his credit report. He's now 700 plus FICO, and he's getting the most amazing loan, and we're closing in like 7 days. That's what we do. We do the things that other people aren't willing to do. We invest our time. But to be able to do that, I also had to invest money out of my pocket. And your banks and credit unions won't spend money on you, guaranteed. It will not happen. So if you're looking for something better, if you're looking for something more than the standard, then we're your people. If you're willing to settle for mediocrity, don't call me, because I won't do that. Okay? So I'm a mortgage broker, and just so you know, rates have dropped twice today over a half a point. If you're, what's that? We're back down to mid-4s if you're mediocre credit, low 4s if you've got decent credit. What's decent credit? 620 and above with me. 620 and above is excellent credit with me because I'm in the wholesale industry. Right? 700 and above at the banks is excellent. Anything less than 700, you're hurt, and you get penalized. It's crazy. So if you're willing to settle for mediocrity, don't call me because that's not how I work. If you're looking for something excellent, something more, then call me. If you're not sure where you're at, I mean, you've been working with Carl for a couple months. He's got an idea about a business plan. If you're not sure about what you can do or what you want to do, and you just want to discuss it and try to formulate a plan, I'm your guy. Brett Mills, I am the owner of Casa Financial Services. So you also get the 911 head of law privileges. All right, any questions?
Woo!
I'll start at the front, Greg.
Are those fixed rates?
What Greg asked me is, he said, are those fixed rates? Yes. Normally what I talk about at this time in this market is fixed rate loans. If anybody that's been around for a while can remember the adjustable rate mortgages. Now they still have adjustable rate mortgages. It used to be that the adjustable rate mortgages came with a much lower interest rate than the fixed rate loans. So if you were willing to accept the risk of the loan possibly adjusting on you, you could achieve a much lower interest rate. They're now dead even, so there's just no point in taking an adjustable rate mortgage. In fact, you have to come up with a really good reason of why you want an adjustable rate mortgage to get one right now. Did I answer your question? Thank you.
I just want to do a testimonial. Brett helped my sister, Judy, twin sister, helped her unscrew up her life. basically. She's a teacher.
It wasn't her fault though. It was
No,
outside
wasn't her
influence.
fault.
It wasn't her fault.
But we got tired of listening to her beat herself up, so we just wanted to go see Brett. And she couldn't do this with anybody else.
Right.
She was all fix her life up.
Absolutely.
Now she's headed in the direction of thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Did you have a question? Somebody back here?
I do.
Oh, Krista.
Sometimes people ask me, how much does it cost to work with a real estate agent or a loan officer? Can you?
That's a great question. What Krista said is she sometimes gets asked, how much does it cost to work with a mortgage broker or with a real estate agent? Now, I will speak for myself. With me, I don't charge anything. I charge nothing. All right, you can come to me. I don't ask you for your credit card so I can get a credit report fee. That's my gift to you for allowing me an opportunity to work with you. I run your credit report. I don't charge for it. I get charged for it, but I don't charge you for it. I help you sit down and work up a plan. I don't charge for that. I give you this plan. If you take it to my competitor and use it, then I didn't do my job. Right? What I didn't do is I didn't solidify my relationship with you. Okay? So I don't charge anything for it. And typically on the purchase, especially these days, the seller pays all closing costs, including me. So you can actually walk into this property if you're military, zero down. If you're not military or previous military, FHA is 3.5% down, and the seller is paying all closing costs plus me. So you would walk in with your down payment and nothing else. These are really good times. One last thing, if you watch the media talks about doom and gloom, how bad the how bad the housing market is. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. You have to read between the lines. It's horrible if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, it's magical. 30-year fixed at 4.25%. Unbelievable. That does not happen. 1999, when I first got into this industry, I was selling 30-year fixed at 9.9. And there weren't enough hours in the day the phone was ringing off the hook because they had dropped to that from 13%. So a little reality check. It is magical. If you're not interested in buying the Taj Mahal or the house you're going to live in for the rest of your life, think about buying your first rental property because you don't own property you can buy it as owner-occupied. Live in it for 60 days, put a paint job on it, new carpet, rental. Create yourself $600–700 a month in income. That trip's your trigger. You definitely need to call me quick. Thank you for your time.